my name is Dominique. My degree, which is sort of towards the end at the moment, was the Masters of Clinical Psychology and the PhD in Clinical Psychology. And the field of research that I'm most centred around is early childhood development. So my PhD has been in conjunction with the Autism team at Telethon Kids Institute. So it's morphed a little over the years, particularly the onset of COVID has really changed the focus of my PhD, but broadly speaking, my PhD is very much centred around understanding better the very early development of children who are later diagnosed with autism. So looking at infancy and the first 6 months, first year of life, and how behaviours within that time frame are related to later autism, and how this sort of understanding can better help us develop interventions. So we've trialled a parent-mediated intervention for infant siblings, so siblings of children diagnosed with autism, and we've worked with their parents around how to support parents and support infant development in families where there is already a child diagnosed. So I've used a mix of different techniques over the different studies that made up my PhD. That includes qualitative methodologies, which I learnt for one of my studies and sort of had to get my head around a whole new field of methodology, and that was sort of in the context of interviews that I conducted with parents and analysing the sort of interview data that came from that to distill it down into the themes to make sort of sense of what the experience was for parents. For other studies, I've very much sort of focused on quantitative analyses, and that includes studies where I used data from existing databases, such as I used data from the Australian Autism Biobank to look at answering some of the questions that I had. And then other studies involved a bit of a mix of qualitative and quantitative. So we piloted a intervention a very early intervention, which was mediated by parents with their infants, and to look at the results of that and sort of how acceptable it was to families, as well as sort of the results of it. We had a bit of a mix of qualitative and quantitative data. So big picture, obviously, and I guess when you're thinking about the research, it's sometimes hard to sort of see the possible end results, but it's exciting to think about them. So I guess the ideal end result of my research and the field that it is a part of is around better understanding neurodevelopment in infants and in children, and how we can best support that. And so very much for my specific part of that research, I guess the end goal is to better understand that for infants who do later go on to be diagnosed with autism, how do we best support development from the get-go? So what do we sort of need to be doing differently as parents and as clinicians to really support that development as best we can